Hi, everybody. We're the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I'm Jamie Kale Miller. I'm in Berkeley, California.
I'm Julia Mijas in Pioneer, California.
And we're today telling you about Jupiter in Aries. Jupiter is moving into Aries this year. Jupiter spends about a year, maybe a year and a month per sign, and it goes around the whole zodiac every 12 years. So it's going to be in Aries for about a year, but in two patches of time. We'll get to that in a minute. So Jupiter is about growth and expansion. It brings a feeling of excitement and adventure and ebullience. It brings confidence and playfulness and lightheartedness. And whatever sign Jupiter is passing through, this is going to be an area where we feel that excitement and we feel more confident about that area. Now, when it comes to an individual natal chart, like your chart, for example, wherever you have Aries in your natal chart, Jupiter will be passing through that area this year, bringing you confidence and enthusiasm, and also luck and opportunity. So if that happens to be a house pertaining to career or money or relationships, those areas of life would be benefited by this transit. You might want to know about that, in which case you could get a reading with Julia or me, and you'll find a link for that in the YouTube description below to find out how to really take advantage of a transit like this one. But Julia, let's drill down into what does Aries mean and what does it feel like when Jupiter is in Aries? What are your thoughts?
Oh my goodness. I think it's a pretty natural fit for Jupiter to be in Aries because Jupiter naturally rules the fire sign Sagittarius. And, the fire sign Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo can share a similar vibe. They're both very uplifting. They're both they're all high energy. So there's a good overlay with Jupiter and Aries, I think, for sure. Aries, we're both Aries. We know Aries well. It's a sign of boldness. It's the first sign in the zodiac. So there's an immediacy to Aries. It usually loves to be first. It usually loves to be pioneering for that reason. And Aries is the archetype of the warrior, ruled by Mars. So it's also got a fighting quality to it, an enterprising quality too, and a very bold and decisive one.
Yeah, I think of Aries as the warrior, the pioneer, the athlete, the driven, forceful, active, willful, self-determined side of all of us. And I think you're right that Jupiter just slots into Aries comfortably because they both share that fiery nature. And I think that there is a quality of innocence about Aries. It's like the newborn of the zodiac. There is this feeling of freshness and a capacity to hope. And here I think is where Jupiter and Aries can really shine because Jupiter is about discovering our resilience through having an ever expanding worldview.
Yes.
Jupiter is that planet that responds when we shake our fist at God and say, why do bad things happen to good people?
Yeah.
Why does stuff have to happen to people who, weren't asking for it, weren't looking for it, and don't deserve it? Yeah. And it calls us into question, what it means to be human. And so Jupiter's response to that is expand your worldview. Look for something bigger than the paradigm that you normally look at life through, which might be from the religion of your childhood, or might be from wisdom or a philosophy that you built, stuff that you picked up along the way. And in Aries, there is this ability to start over. There is this freshness, this ability to boldly explore and expand out into realms that are new to you. And it borders on naive, really.
Yes.
But the sheer wellspring of hope and positivity and possibility with Jupiter and Aries it's pretty bottomless.
Yeah. And I really liked what you were saying, finding that overlay between the function of Jupiter and the meaning of the sign Aries. And they do have a hopefulness a little bit in both of them. I mean, Jupiter is the planet of hope and faith and those things. But you know, Aries, somebody with a lot of Aries in their chart, you know, no matter how defeated or down they get, a fresh start will always invigorate an Aries, you know, the promise of a new day.
Mhm.
And that's where, and I think that's a very interesting connection between the two.
Yeah, I think that kind of points to the dual rulership of Aries and Scorpio by Mars. So Mars rules Aries traditionally and in the modern system, but in the traditional system, it also rules Scorpio, which is about death and rebirth. Now, Aries focuses on the birth side of that,
Yeah.
right? But Aries is really fond of like leaving stuff behind and not looking back. And I think that Jupiter in Aries can give you the confidence to move on from the old and just not let it drag on your heels as you move forward.
Very much so. Yeah.
So and so you were talking about, you know, what if people have a lot of Aries placements in their chart? And so I want to say that Jupiter will be passing through Aries in two patches of time. The first patch of time is this year, 2022, from May 10th to October 27th, during which Jupiter travels forward to 8 degrees of Aries and then backs up, actually turns retrograde and backs up out of Aries into late degrees of Pisces for a couple of weeks before then re-entering Aries in December on the 20th of 2022, and then cruising swiftly along through the rest of Aries, finishing it out by May 16th, 2023. So if you have anything in your chart in degrees 0 to 8 of Aries, you are undoubtedly having a Jupiter transit this year to that planet. And that side of you that that planet represents, whether it's Venus and it's love and relationships, or Juno, which is also relationships, or whether it's Ceres, representing your finances, or Saturn representing your career, that side of you is going to get all of the invigorating, enthusiastic, excited, hopeful, positive, and confident infusion of Jupiter energy, which means that those sides of you should be taking action, should be growing and developing. You know, if Jupiter is transiting your Venus, you should be dating. This is a really great time to date this year. If Jupiter is transiting your Saturn, it's time to ask for that raise, promotion, or look elsewhere if you're feeling restless at your job. Yeah. Now, this would all be happening in mostly in the first time frame from May 10th to October 27th. And then you would notice it again, you know, coming to a closure in December or January in 2023. But by May 16th, 2023, Jupiter will be done with Aries. It's going to move on to Taurus at that point, and the opportunities will be, you know, pretty much over. Good to grab them while they're thick on the ground.
Yeah.
There's just one last little thing I want to throw in there about Jupiter, which is, I think, you know, Julia, I think that Jupiter is in charge of ethics and morals. You know, Jupiter and Saturn are called the social planets because Saturn, you know, it puts a boundary around our lives in the form of the society that we're a part of and our reputation in that society. But Jupiter fills out our social life by educating us to be a good, you know, a good member of our society. And so the expansion of Jupiter is meant to be in the service of the wider society that we are a part of. And so Jupiter is in charge of ethics and morals, as well as things like faith and hope and positivity. And I think that we need to remember that Aries is not just, you know, the grizzled, ever battle ready old warrior. Aries is also, you know, the honorable hero who wants to ride in, you know, wearing the white hat and save the day, and really feels that honor is very important. and that, battle conducted without honor is nothing more than bullying.
Mm.
Whereas battle conducted with honor, according to the actual rules of engagement, is the work of the honorable hero.
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think that's all we wanted to say. Hey, Julia.
Yep.
Hope you enjoyed this video. If you want a reading to discover how Jupiter is impacting your chart this year, you can check the YouTube link just below for the link. And until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye.
Bye-bye.